Welcome. This is the October 15th meeting of the Wallingford Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to start the meeting by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight's decisions will be published in the Record Journal on Friday, October 19th, 2018. The effective date of your variance will be Friday, October 19th, 2018. The date a certified copy is recorded on the land records. The statutory 15-day appeal period will expire on Sunday, November 4th, 2018. If you commence operations and/or construction during the appeal period, you do so at your own risk. Voting tonight is Mr. Conroy, Mr. Wolfer, Mr. Rise, Mrs. Tata, and myself. If you're here for 18-017 for 101 North Plains, there's no action being this month. It's being continued to next month. I guess Mr. Carmody's here, so Mr. Carmody's going to be voting. First application is 18-028, variance request from Addie for front yard landscaping of 3 feet to reconfigure parking along Capitol Drive at 122 North Plains Industrial Road. Madam Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have staff notes. Applicant seeks front landscaping, Capitol Drive, of 3 feet where 12.5 feet is required and 5.3 and 11.1 feet exists, to reconfigure parking area along Capitol Drive. Applicant received variance approval May 2016 for no front landscaping, North Plains Industrial Road, and 5.3 and 11.1 feet Capitol Drive to construct an addition at 122 North Plains Industrial Road. Applicant seeks additional reduction in front landscaping requirement as a result of plan modifications realigning parking area along Capitol Drive. Applicant is proposing some minor additional interior landscape areas to compensate for said reduction of front landscaping. This office would suggest any consideration of further landscaping variance be conditioned on, at a minimum, some compensatory landscaping on site as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody here for 122? Have a seat, please. Pull the microphone close and please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Richard Addy. I live at 133 Linden Avenue, Branford.
Henry Roy. I live at 41 Beach Drive in Prospect, Connecticut.
Go ahead. Could you please explain your application?
Well, we realized that if we could just straighten out that piece of grass, we could get about 8 more parking spaces, and they're very important to us. So.
And you're talking about the section on Capitol Drive?
Yes. Yeah. So what we did was we gave back 2 parking spaces along North Plains Industrial.
Okay.
So to give more grass out there.
Now, how many parking spaces do you have total? You know?
Right. With the approved plan,
Yeah, the approved plan.
I think we had 26, including 2 handicap.
And with what you're looking here, it's adding parking spaces?
Yeah, 5 more, I believe. Yeah.
5 more.
Yeah.
So you'd be
31.
31.
Yeah.
And how many employees do you have?
We currently have 30 employees. So
you're right at it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Are there going to be trees planted on that corner landscape?
Yeah.
One thing I'm concerned about. I was there today, just kind of taking a look at it,
Yeah.
and I'm worried about sightline on Capitol Drive pulling out. So that's the only thing.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not exactly sure what the original plans were. They show some type of plantings, whether they're shrubs or trees or, it's kind of a small area personally for a tree.
Yeah, no, I get it.
The last thing was approved.
Talking to the
Yeah, pull the microphone.
It was approved based on the condition of, I believe, 3 or 4 inch-and-a-half diameter trees being planted. That was one of the conditions. So we would expect to do that still.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against the application? You guys have any further that you'd like to add?
I would like to say one thing, and I originally built the building in 1980, and at that time Capitol Drive wasn't there. And that area was, at the beginning, the front part of the building was paved, but on the side it was crushed stone. But we did have to put in a, I guess, catch basin with 3 dry wells there. And the original plan that we got approved, even though it was crushed stone, that line was parallel to the street, not going on an angle. And then in 1984, we had it paved, and when the guy paved it, he put it in crooked, okay? So it was never our intent to be on an angle. It was intended to be straight, which is on our original plan in 1980, although it was just crushed stone, but there was a catch basin there. So really, we just want to straighten it out to how it should be, you know.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for staying in Wallingford and spending money here, because it helps the town. Go ahead.
And 4 of the other 6 properties on that road have the same variance that we're asking for.
Okay. You have any further before I close the public hearing?
No.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and open it up for discussion and possible action by the board.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the variance request for the landscaping at Capitol Drive.
Second.
Motion to approve, Mr. Carmody?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfer?
Yes, to approve.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Ms. Tata?
Yes.
And Chairman Russick?
Yes, your variance and application has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Okay, next up is 18-029, variance request from Lorenco for building coverage of 19.5% to enclose a concrete pad, creating an additional storage area at 1224 South Broad Street. Madam Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have staff notes. Applicant seeks building coverage of 19.5% where 19.4% exists and maximum 17% is permitted to enclose adjacent exterior storage area, concrete slab, to create additional internal storage. Application on behalf of Aldi Incorporated, lessee of 16,785 square feet of 153,663 square foot multi-tenant plaza. Applicant is expanding internally by 2,237 square feet as well as by proposed 522 square foot storage enclosure. Enclosing storage has no impact on parcel setbacks or site parking requirements. Building coverage for the site increases by 0.1% despite this being a multi-tenant site. This office can support the minor increases in building coverage as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Bruno Lorenco. I am a director of real estate for Aldi Food Market. Our distribution center is in South Windsor, Connecticut.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
you have to get right up close to that microphone.
Pull the microphone closer to you. It'll be easier, then you don't.
Attaboy.
There you go.
Bruno Lorenco, director of real estate for Aldi Food Market, located in South Windsor, Connecticut.
And I'm Matt Bruton. I'm an engineer from BL Companies. Our office is in Hartford, Connecticut.
Could you please explain your application?
Sure. I'm going to pass out a picture of the site in question, just so you guys have a better visual if you haven't been to the site recently. So I'll pass that out before I start.
Give me two. section.
I went and looked at it.
So we're here this evening to request a variance to exceed the maximum building coverage for the proposed Aldi's. The board you see up there is a compilation of the survey data and an aerial a photo to give you context of what we're talking about here. Just to kind of give you some context, the main street is on the bottom of the page here. There's an existing pad sites. One is Payless Shoes and one is an orthodontics medical office building. This is the entire shopping building in the back. Aldi's occupies the right side when you're standing from the street. The photos that you see in front of you are a picture of that back corner. It's a notch in this back corner here. That area is approximately about 522 square feet. Aldi's is in the process in Connecticut and nationwide of expanding and renovating all their stores to provide more space internally for the products that their customers are demanding. And they're looking to expand in that little notch, 522 square feet, and also into the adjacent tenant space, which has been vacated by the previous tenant. In talking to town staff prior to submitting this application, it appears that this site never received a variance for the application for the building coverage that is there today. The current regulation is 17%. The existing plaza as it is today is 19.4. The 500 square foot addition would bring us up 0.1% to 19.5. In talking with Casey Hand, she said that at one point this parcel was in a different zone that had a 35% building coverage requirement. At some point it was changed to an RF40 zone and the regulation came down to 17%, making this entire non-compliant from the get-go. So we're looking for a minor variance to increase the size of this building and square it off to provide more storage space inside. As you can see from the photo, it's currently a concrete pad that has little value to Aldi's and their inside operations. We believe this addition obviously will have no impact on the parcel and the abutting property owners.
Yeah, I don't see any big issue with it. I mean, the concrete pad's there already. You're just gonna build block wall and put a roof on it, correct?
Basically just enclose that area.
Yeah. I don't see a big deal with it. One of the questions I'm probably gonna ask about Aldi's is, so you're expanding into the next store only 12 feet?
It's 14 feet. So but that difference with the increase and the back room increase will make our sales floor 13,000 square feet. It's currently 10,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. So with that small minor increase, it helps us increase our sales floor, which will allow us to completely remodel the store, put in more of the multi-deck units, more fresh offerings and everything else that obviously our customers.
Popular store in town.
Yeah, I remodeled it. This is the second time I'm remodeling this store. We did an internal remodel in 2012, not expanding, just using the existing space. And now we're remodeling all the stores again, and this one needs additional space to keep up with obviously the demand.
Thank you. Has anybody got any questions? Is there anybody here to speak in favor of the application? Anybody here to speak against the application? You guys, any further you want to add before I close the public hearing?
I'm all set.
So I'm going to close the public hearing and open it up for possible discussion and possible action by the board.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve application 18-029.
Second.
Motion to approve, Mr. Carmody.
Yes.
Mr. Wolfer.
Yes.
Mr. Rice.
Yes.
Ms. Tata.
Yes.
And Chairman Russell.
Yes, your variance has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is 18-025, variance requests from Penn Highway Holding Company for no front landscaping and no parking perimeter landscaping to expand vehicle storage area at 11 to 17 Pent Highway. Madam Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have staff notes. Applicant seeks to expand vehicle storage area at 11-17 Pent Highway in an I-40 district, which requires full site compliance with all applicable zoning regulations, including required landscaping. Location of buildings and existing parking lot predates zoning. Parcel currently has no front or parking lot landscaping and abuts the railroad to the east. Buildings are oriented within the front setback, reducing or eliminating locating front yard landscaping. Parcel boundary contiguous to the railroad has no setback requirement. Applicant proposes to allow current zero landscaping to continue. This is a continuation of public hearing opened September 17th, 2018. Applicant has submitted modification proposal demonstrating some compensatory interior landscaping in lieu of required front and parking lot landscaping. This office would suggest the board clearly condition any potential approvals based on the proposals being presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Rosalind Page. I'm a professional land surveyor with an office at 604 Center Street. Name of the company is Winterbourne Land Services. I'm representing the applicant this evening and also Joan Malloy, who was the attorney who was here last month, who was unable to be here tonight to continue the hearing with you. So I will do my best to fill in for her. I did watch the tape of the meeting from last month, so I think I have a reasonably good understanding of what happened at the last meeting, but if I miss things, please let me know. So my understanding was that there was some discussions about providing some planters along the front of the buildings, I'm sorry. And so Attorney Malloy was directed to go back to the applicant and ask what the applicant could do. So the handout that you should have received is highlighted in green with areas that, based upon that discussion between Attorney Malloy and the applicant, they have done some planting. They're looking at the 8.5 by 11 sheet that I hope you have. On the left-hand side of the sheet in front of 17 Pent Highway, there is in fact a pre-existing landscaped planter area in the front of the office space. So we just highlighted that and called that existing planted bed. Since the last meeting, the applicant has placed planters, those sort of half whiskey barrels with some, I believe they're arborvitae, 4-foot, 5-foot trees in them, in front of 15 Pent Highway. Then in the fenced-in area in front of number 11 Pent Highway, on the right-hand side of this piece of paper, he has cleaned up some of the weeds that were in there, organized some of the vehicles that are in there, and planted some, again, some arborvitae trees inside the fence, where I've depicted those as little green circles. In addition, he has done the same thing with whiskey barrels with plants with arborvitae in front of them on the right-hand side of number 11 Pent Highway, where it faces the railroad. He has put one tree in that long planting bed. He has not yet planted the rest of it, but he has indicated that he would be prepared to continue the planting along there. So at that point, that's what we have for you as progress. I would like to get input from the commission as to whether you feel that this is acceptable to you.
I was by there today, and one of the things I was talking about last month is that I know the planning office kind of wanted planters and maybe some curbing, and I went there today and to take a look at it just to refresh my memory of what it actually looks like. And I don't see how that could possibly, any of that work on this application, because of, if you would know this yourself better than me, but if you went and shot grade from the possible curb line to their front garage door is very little pitch there for the water to get away. And for 15 and maybe even 11, it's pitched the other way. I think the building's actually lower than the road.
That is correct.
And then to put anything in front of 17, I really think it would harm getting in and getting out of there. That being said, I see there are some arborvitae's planted and everything else, and it is good. I was kind of thinking maybe some more around the western side of the building. That would give us a little bit more green. I know I had mentioned that last month, but other than that, I'll open it up because we did already chew this one up last month pretty good. And
When you're talking about the west, the
so
additional.
if you're looking at this picture, it'd be the left side,
The
which
left
would be
side,
the
okay.
west side. I mean, I don't know how much more you could do with that. I mean, in my opinion, it's very limited on what he possibly could do. Other than, really, and I just don't see where putting a curb or any planters out towards the road or islands would work there. Just the way the road and his property meet, there's no defined curb line there.
Right.
It's all one.
Right.
And it's probably been like that for, 50 years, or I don't know how long he's been in business, but he's been there for probably 40 years anyways. So, it's probably been like that, and the town has come in and repaved and never put a curb up there. So I just don't see any of that working, and I think our best shot at getting any type of planting and greenery on this property would be around the building. That's just my opinion, and I'll open it up. Does anybody have any questions or discussion they want to bring up on this?
Go ahead.
Mr. Conroy, go ahead.
I would like to see the stuff along the side that he's proposing that he hasn't done yet. Other than that, this building has been like that since it was built. I remember when it was built, the larger one, 17. I remember when it was built, there's no curb. But I would like to see a little bit better coverage on the junk in behind the fence, because that's kind of an eyesore.
Anybody else? In the fenced-in area, he wants that cleaned up a little bit. Yeah. Anybody else? No? Go ahead, Mr. Wolf.
Mr. Chairman, you were mentioning on the additional greenery on the west side, that would be number 17, correct? Alongside?
Correct, yeah.
Alongside the railroad?
Well, no, that's the east side, so it'll be the left side of the picture on this side here.
Right.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we
Miss-
can get some in there.
Mrs. Tata?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for Mrs. Torrey. Do we, so I know on the actual application it says that they would propose no landscaping. Would it be okay in the motion to say landscaping as proposed on the picture that we were given dated October 9th? Is something like that okay to stay on the motion? Because, and then that will go into the,
When you're prepared to make a motion, should it be as proposed with the modification or the latest submittal, you want to clearly define what that motion is based on, because yes, in fact, they asked for no landscaping if we're negotiating, if you will, and you're satisfied with what is being presented, then just be clear that that's what you're motioning to approve or deny, is that
okay.
modification, or even more specific if you'd like, if you're speaking of specific additions to the landscaping where they are located, and again, as proposed. But just be very clear and specific, because the request was for no landscaping. So if we're approving something different, we have to be clear about what we're approving.
Right, and this drawing, can that be entered into, on the land records as part of this?
They will be granted a variance based on how you propose it or do not approve it. And they will be going forward with site plan approval with this variance as a component of it, should it be approved.
Okay.
So that will be, the site plan will include precisely what you are or are not approving this evening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, anybody else got anything they want to add? Do you have anything further?
No, I think, if I'm understanding you correctly, you are looking for some additional planters along that west side where currently we say 7 spaces. Have some
Yeah,
along
I
the
don't
line.
think that's
Yeah.
asking too much. I think
No.
a little more greenery there, and I think that could help out with the planning office to get in some greenery. I understand what they're trying to get at, but I just don't see in this property where how it's on the road and how it all attaches even to the next property. It just, I don't see where you're gonna do much there other than around the building.
I think the applicant would accept putting some additional planters along that west side where we depict 7 spaces.
Okay. Go ahead, Amy, you have something you gotta...
Just to clarify in terms of motions as well, to make, since that is not part of this proposal, to make sure that's included specifically, if you're including that 7 space, building
Okay.
17, landscaping, that's very clear
Okay.
in any motions you make.
Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against this application? Do you have anything further you'd like to add?
No.
All right, I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board.
I'm on deck, it looks like. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve approve application number 18-025 with the modifications as presented on the picture received by the planning office on October 9th, 2018, in addition to additional planters on the west side of building number 17.
Second?
Motion to approve, Mr. Carmody.
Yes.
Mr. Wolfer.
Yes, to approve.
Mr. Rice.
Yes.
Mrs. Tata.
Yes.
And Chairman Rosick.
Yes, your application's been approved.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Okay, can I get a motion to consider and approve the minutes from September 17th?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.